welcome to Current Exposure. We are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. It's been a while since we've been up here. We've been gone the whole summer enjoying our vacation, but we're back. We have a special guest to bring the season back in. I see you backstage. Look at you. Look at you. Um, so I'm going to bring on our local artist, Italy Jare Lee.
Period.
Yes. Oh wow. Okay, I'm feeling the spotlight. I like that. I like that.
It's a sunset lamp. It's so
Oh,
beautiful.
okay. Okay.
Bro, you should
The
see the
effect.
moon. Oh my god, the moon is so beautiful right now.
Really. Can
You
you
should see
show
the
it
moon.
to us or
Can I
let's
flip the
see?
camera? Am I allowed to flip the camera
Yes,
question?
you're allowed to do
How?
whatever.
No, I'm saying like how
Period.
though?
Period.
No, how do you do it though?
Oh,
Oh,
is that how artists talk? Like you say the punctuation that's at the end?
yo, don't piss me off.
Wow! Exclamation point.
I'm weak.
Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
I cannot. No, but it won't let me flip the camera, but it's really gorgeous right now. I saw it and
Wow.
it was like red at first. And my view from my room is like the Manhattan skyline. So it was like red and it was
Wow.
coming up and now it's beautiful. Anyway.
Wow.
hmm
I'm definitely going to take a look at it. But thank you for coming on. I've been trying to get you on, and people, just so you know, we are pre recording. We can't go live. We can go live, but we didn't go live because Italy is such a very busy woman. She's at
Yes,
auditions, slams,
everything.
just doing it all at NYU in class.
hmm
So
Who is
like
that?
let's tell us like how did your artistry start? Like what is your artistry too? Is it something that can be defined or is it like a combination
hmm
of art different art styles?
Yeah. It's weird. Cause in like a corny answer, I want to be like I was an artist my whole life. Cause I low key haven't. It's weird because it's like I've recently been getting asked the question of like, oh, like when did you start poetry and stuff like that? And I'm like, I've been writing poetry my entire life, but I just never knew it was poetry. I was just writing little stuff in my journal, writing little amateur songs,
Wow.
not knowing that it's poetry. And basically, how I got started into it was competitively, and I think my junior year, and this was crazy because there was so much going on in my life. But my junior year, my drama teacher, because I went to an arts high school inside of Elizabeth, she was like, "Yeah, all got to do this assignment," but the assignment was like a national competition. That's the type of
Okay.
teachers that I had. Like they would get us into
Wow.
stuff. Like they would get into stuff, and I'm very,
Nice.
very grateful. Um, and basically, the competition was called Poetry Out Loud, and it wasn't like your own poetry. It was like you would recite other people's poetry. So like Maya Angelou, Shakespeare,
Oh.
all of that. So it was like an acting competition because we were inside of an acting class. So that's how she thought of it.
Cool.
So I got into that, and then this was also during COVID. Wow, I have to mention that too because this is gonna be. You also have to like think. So this was all virtual, by the way, too. So it was 10 times hard. It was 10 times
Wow.
just like too much. I won school wide, then I won regional wide, then I won statewide. Went to
State of New
national
Jersey?
state champ. Yep.
So number one in the whole state.
Yeah. For poetry out loud.
Congratulations. Clap, clap, clap.
Poetry out loud in 2022. And then I went to nationals. I didn't make it past nationals, but me having like won up until that point, there was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like Jersey arts foundations and organizations that like started to look at like my performance of this specific piece. Um,
Wow.
and they were like, wow, like we want you to perform at like our events. So basically, my first poetry event was I opened Dr. Cornell. Do you know Dr. Cornell West?
Yes, yes.
I opened Dr. Cornel West's talkback in Red Bank at the Count Basie Theater, which was
Okay.
insane. And this was the first time that I performed my own poetry. You know what I mean? They were like, "No, we want your stuff. We want you to open it," like type stuff. Like with
Wow.
poetry out loud, I was just reciting other folks' stuff, and it was through poetry out loud that I realized, and I'm like, "Wait, these people are performing their poetry. I could do that too." You know what I mean? So then it
Mm-hmm.
transformed into me performing locally across the state. And then conveniently, a year later, I started to go to NYU, and now I'm circled in and full head to toe into like the underground poetry scene and all that type of stuff. So it's really cool.
Nice.
Whoa.
Nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So wait, this is your second year at NYU. Shout out
Yes,
to
well,
you
about to be.
too.
Yes.
And you're fully immersed in the you said the underground poetry scene in New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well now what's that like?
Whew. It is beautiful, honestly. And I think it's
Okay.
what keeps me grounded in such a chaotic city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the city is beautiful. I love the city. The city literally has my heart. I'm literally staring at it right now with the beautiful moon. But it's also like it can be very, very overstimulating, very overwhelming, very like, psh, you know what I mean? Because you have every
Right.
angle of life in your face 24/7. And the underground poetry scene, it always keeps me grounded in terms of like my emotions, who I am as an artist. It also keeps me very humble, um, because you really see people stripped down to their purest form. I've always said that like
Mm.
poetry is like the one time, like, or spoken word, I should say. Seeing spoken word live is like the few times, both for the poet and the audience, where I see humans actually be human. It's the first time
Right.
where I see a group of people all feel at once. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
it's very refreshing because I feel like when you're outside of New York, it's a very beautiful city, but it's also like very everybody's like low key on their own vibe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody's just like you know what I mean. Like certain points it get a little bit robotic, so it's nice to know that like everybody kind of is still like grounded within themselves, and you can relate to people and talk about things that aren't talked about. It's a very beautiful community, and I enjoy it very very much. And it also just gives me like another outlet and community outside of school, which is really nice.
Oh wow. So these people are completely separate. Well, the underground scene is completely separate from NYU.
But
Okay.
I know very, very few. I know some NYU alumni who happen to be inside of the scene, and I know one person inside of my grade that is also frequent within the scene as much as I am. So it's very like, which I low key like. Like I don't want to feel
Right,
like,
right, right. Because everybody's on the same wavelength.
yeah, literally. It's like if I were to think of it as like a frequency, it's like everybody's on the same frequency. It's really beautiful. It's
Right.
gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Okay. Let me add Zadian, Zaire Ruffin. Are
Yeah,
you
I'm here. You
here?
can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
yes,
here. How you
we
guys
can hear
doing, guys?
you.
I'm
If
stuffing
you
my
have
face.
any,
Excuse me.
oh, you stuff your, yeah. Do you mind if I eat this cake?
Oh, please dig in. I'm
Yeah,
about
you
to.
more than
I
welcome.
low key am about to go. I'm about to go heat up my chicken tenders and French fries. I'm thinking about it real hard right now. Yo, I got some ambassadors chicken and French fries. Ooh,
Why didn't you
yo,
bring them on?
Oh, that's the Black Friday.
I know it's ooh. My refrigerator looking real black right now, yo. I got all of the cookout food just lined up.
You still have some left? Is that where the food went?
No. The food, no. One thing about me, I'm not
It
a
was
plate
gone.
packer. I'm not a plate packer. I
Oh,
know
okay.
folks who be plate packers. You feel what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's the
Honestly,
name?
Yeah, it was a lot of
Plate
plate packing
packer.
that was
it's
going
a lot
on.
of plate packing that
I
was going on
missed
behind.
it.
It was not me. I'm not one of
Wow.
those. I take my one plate, very demure, very cutesy, very mindful, and I leave the function. I don't do
Very
I
demure.
don't do
Demure is trending,
yeah.
honey. Demure is
I
trending.
don't
Demureness is
do
trending.
four or
Demure,
five
the
stacks of
demure
plates.
woman.
I'm not like these other girls. I do one plate with one layer of aluminum foil and I leave it at that. Very
Oh,
modest, very cute.
wow. One
Yeah,
layer.
one layer.
Amen. Praise God for Zion.
It's like, nah,
Amen.
I be packing mad, please. It's like, nah. But,
So,
yeah.
okay. So what type of artistry are you doing at NYU? Is it the same as what's happening at the underground scene, or is it something totally different, or
It's
like
weird.
what is it?
So essentially, I'm at NYU. I'm an acting major, which is like very, very, and I'm thankful for this. It's very, very close in cahoots with poetry and spoken word because a
Okay.
lot of what I do with my spoken word is acting because I feel like I'm like telling a story. So it's not like
Right.
I'm living in two completely separate worlds. Um, but my NYU life, going to acting school at NYU, it's just like I would say it is low key a completely different life than the underground poetry scene. Cause it's but it's odd because they're like for me in the same artistic belt, but lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
wise, they look completely different lifestyle wise. So sometimes it does feel like I'm in two different worlds just a little bit.
Mm.
Oh. So are the audiences different?
Yes.
Or
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I've always said that like in the underground poetry scene, the audiences are like the true version of what diversity actually looks like. I feel like a lot of people coin the term diversity and they don't actually know what it looks like, or they just kind of
Mm-hmm.
see it as majority white people with like a sprinkle of black. Like no, like these poetry underground scenes, black, brown, everywhere, like everywhere. So there's much more of a like engagement aspect with poetry because it's like it's like an exchange. Like you're giving to the
Okay.
audience, the audience is giving to you. That it's very reaction oriented. With like acting, being theatrical, being telling a story, and just like the culture around theater as a whole, it's very much like you're watching a story. Kind of the same way as like think about it like when you're in a movie theater, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's you kind of have like the notion to like your phone has to be off. Don't laugh too loud. Don't speak too much. Like you know what I mean? With
Okay. It's more
poetry,
reserved.
it's more yeah, like with poetry
Okay.
it's more free. Like obviously don't be on your phone, like that's rude. But
Right,
you can
right, right.
engage, you can snap, you could stomp, like you could throw like it's like that. Like it's very, very engaged. With acting, it's like you're just watching a story and letting the story affect you, but in a reserved manner. So
Wow. That is different.
it's very
That's
different.
because what if it's like one of those moments where you want to cry
Yeah. Are you talking about with acting or with poetry?
with acting and you're just sitting there like,
No, you could cry, but that's my other thing. It depends on the individual. Because me personally, one thing I'm gonna do is always cry, whether it's at a theater, a movie, whatever, even on stage. Like I'ma always cry. It comes down to the individual person. Are you willing to give space for that vulnerability in the room? You know what I mean? It's just more
no, I mean the
accepted.
person in the audience.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Oh, really?
about.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like, if are you willing to allow
Yeah,
yourself
we
to?
witnessed that. Like the diverse crowd, diverse audience, and how
Yeah,
we reacted
yeah.
so much different
That was when we
compared to
went
our
to
white
the
counterparts, and how much
verses, right?
yeah, and
Oh,
how much
okay.
truth is being spoken throughout in the reality. And I loved how you
Mhm.
specifically when you said the liquor store comment, we have more liquor stores, and I've been saying that for years, right? You
Mhm.
know, you go
Mhm.
Can
to
you?
anywhere in New
Yes.
Jersey, you can
Yes.
find a church, charter school, corner store, liquor store,
Mhm.
and a charter
Mhm.
school on the same block. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
So
But
it's
here's the other problem: you could see a liquor store on every block. Why? Like, why is
exactly.
it oversaturating our community like this? It's
Hmm.
all. But that's the stuff I try to pick out in my poetry. I try to pick out the niche things that people don't really always see, or they see but they don't talk about. You know what I mean? Because they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Right.
somebody gonna say I'm dragging it." No, you're not dragging it. The system is
Right.
built. Anyways.
So, are we going to get like a demonstration of that one? I don't think we have a clip of the liquor store
Um,
poetry.
I have a clip of it.
Do you want to play the clip or can you hit us with something
Oh,
live?
you want me to do it? Okay, wait, hold on. You want the whole poem? You want the whole poem? Niggas gotta get ready. Niggas got ground. You let me know.
I mean, whatever you think is appropriate for the audience.
Okay, bad. Let's see if
But
Italy
I
has
like what
any.
I did like that part too. Like when you broke it down and it was like, yeah, like when are we gonna deal with this?
Yeah.
It's the excise taxes though, because the liquor store brings in certain amounts of revenue
Mhm.
for the states.
Mhm.
So I know why, but at the same time, it's an oversaturation in certain communities because there hasn't been that pushback. Like
Hello.
enough, we don't want any more.
But that's the thing. We fall. Listen. This was
They
the whole
caught
point.
people sleeping because
Literally.
other communities push back. No, we don't want this. This is too many. We'll take one. And then you have to call it wines and spirits in other communities. But in urban communities, the liquor store, alcohol.
Clock
Like,
it. Clock it. Clock it. It's
yeah.
little
Yeah.
stuff. It's
The
little
the
stuff
the
that
the
people don't even pick
verbiage
up.
that is being
Right.
Yes.
used.
Like, we can't get
The,
wines and spirits too.
It's a
yeah.
whole different vocabulary when it comes to us. There's a set. It's like brackets of a
And there's not
hierarchy
a
that we
variety.
have at
It's
all.
straight hard liquor.
Hmm.
It's straight hard
Bob's
liquor.
liquor.
It's hard
Bob's
liquor.
hard.
It's no
They be
mixers in there. It's no
Home
like
liquors.
Bob's
vegetable
Like,
or the fruits in
high.
there.
Bob's
It's
hard
no like
liquor.
cherries in there. It has to be. Or if you do have the cherries or the pineapples or anything, they're already
There's
like
no luxury.
yeah. It's no luxury.
None. There's no
There's no
luxury. There's no
experience,
luxury.
so to
There's
speak.
no experience. It's literally a glass wall. Get
dirty ice cups. Dirty
glass
ice
wall.
cups.
Here. Take your poison. Like literally, that's what it feels like inside a black and urban neighborhoods. But that's what I talk about in that poem.
And
I
so
love
you,
that
you
poem.
deal with a lot of social injustice issues. Is that correct?
I do. Every
Mm,
single. I think
And
all
so,
of.
but these
Yeah.
issues stem from your experience growing up.
Yes. A lot of some of them. Let me think about my poems. A lot of my poems reference like very transformative moments in my life. Like my grandma poem references me losing my grandma. My
mm-hmm.
Petey poem references, us all losing Petey, but making that
Right.
into a bigger context about why we need to come together as community and hear each other out before this happens again, type thing.
Right.
Um, but yeah, a lot of what I do with my work is I try to take a certain event that has happened in my life or experience or realization and put it in the context of the world and how I can make that into a message.
Wow. So are you going to hit us with
Mm.
that piece?
I can. I can. I can't promise y'all that it's fully memorized in my head, but I definitely can. I feel like
Okay.
it is though. Usually I just have it in the file. So we're gonna see. Okay.
Mhm.
Black holes, that's the poem. Y'all want liquor store poem?
Yes. Black
Okay.
hole. Yep.
Okay.
Black hole. That was the name of it.
Yes, black holes. Okay. The Illuminati exists on every corner of a black neighborhood except it is painted as a liquor store. Ask how many are in the white neighborhood because there are 8 times more in the black community. Freedom on paper never meant immunity if they can't hang us by our necks. They don't have to hang us by our souls. By oversaturating our communities with black holes, they planted to make a black boy's playground poison, but you won't understand it. See, they'll push you down a slide. That's like the henny down your throat. Convince you that drinking is the only way to cope. They will pack your playground with more liquor than resources. Fuck you over so they can label it black choices I've seen. Generations sell their soul at the liquor store. Trade in their black joy for dark liquor in hopes to clear their sorrows. They made sure to put one on each corner so black joy can be slaved into bottles I have. Family members who I call ancestors because their soul is no longer here. Their soul is mixed in a bottle with the tears that had nowhere else to go. See, the Illuminati exists on every corner of a black neighborhood, except it is painted as a liquor store. A triangle with no way out but in. Because even when black hands don't go for the gin, addiction lingers in our lineage. If they can't make us pick cotton, then they'll make us their guinea pigs. We must free ourselves from the spells they try to cast on our playground. Dismiss the evil trail of the slide system. Never sink too deep in the sandbox. Hopscotch past their limits. Double dutch between them white ropes because they can't whip your soul. So, black girl and black boy, when you swing, you better soar, but don't lose control because we are too fly for their black holes.
That was
Ah,
incredible.
Thanks,
That was
guys.
incredible.
snap, snap, snap.
Who, period. That was impressive. I didn't know that I remembered
So,
that.
and that's talking about once again a social justice issue that's active throughout the brown and black communities, and also the verbiage that's being used,
Mm-hmm.
like liquor store or home liquors. We can't have wine and spirits and
Mm-hmm.
wine and this, or even a
Mm-hmm.
simple name like Craig's
Yeah,
Wine
literally.
Shop or Craig Shop or anything like that.
No.
So that to me is speaking on some issues that hit home throughout many
Yeah.
communities throughout America, not just from the cities that we're from. Shakima, you got something to add on to that?
No, no, you said it. You said what needed to be said. um,
Okay.
yeah, I really don't. I'm thinking about prohibition, but then I need more time with my thinking because there was a point where it was alcohol and liquor was banned, but then it came back through legislation and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I need
I
more
wonder
time to think with that and to connect that historically to now, and since it was revived and brought back, why in such this way and an oversaturation in certain neighborhoods.
disproportionate in a contrasting way.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So I need, yeah, I need to think a little bit more harder and long about that.
Yeah.
But
That's also a question to like, because I know the prohibition era. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's like the 1920s, no?
right, 1920s,
And
right,
it's looking at what president put that back in and their entire bill and what that looked like. You know what I mean? Like that's a
right,
whole. I never even thought
right.
about this, so that's really interesting to think about. That's a whole.
Like why? If it was determined, like, okay, this is not good for our youth. This is not good for our community. We want to ban it and outlaw it. And now, fast forward to 2024, you have people addicted to alcohol. You have like alcohol treatment programs. But why so many liquor stores?
Hello, in black and brown
And
communities.
right, and then also like these illnesses are the result of all these liquor stores.
Hello. It's that's what I think of it like a cycle. It's a plan because people talk
Right,
about it's literally that to me when we talk about intersectionality and like what systemic racism looks like. That's systemic. That is a system,
Mhm.
right,
literally. Like that is
okay.
a system. That's how I think of it. Like specific things down to that.
Mhm.
Um, and how broader issues affect us directly. But yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, I gotta sit with that for a little bit and come back
praise God.
because
That was a good.
That was perfect timing.
right, right. That was on cue. Now I know prior to this interview and you joining us, you were at an audition. How was
Yeah.
it? What was that like?
It went really well, but it's funny
Okay.
because you say audition. I meant to. It was literally a self tape, so I had to record
Okay.
myself. We were in my room. I had to record myself saying these lines,
Oh,
and
so
I
you're
had my
pursuing acting. Okay.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's an audition from my school, my acting school. Essentially, we're doing like one acts this year, and they sent out all the plays that we're doing. So we have to audition for the certain role that we want, and yeah, it's due this
Okay.
Friday. So I was like, I don't got no other time to do it but now. So let me lock in and be responsible.
Okay.
Okay.
You got to be responsible. Please do. Please
Oh,
do.
oh, you don't
Self
have to worry about me.
sufficiency is
I
the
am self
goal.
sufficient. Praise
Mm-hmm.
God. Praise God. Spirit of the living God.
Spirit of living. Yes, amen.
Spirit of
About
the living God.
to get up and start shouting.
Whoa, don't get me started, Joy.
Go ahead,
So,
play it.
I
so good.
can't because I'm on my phone. Wait, low key, I got
Oh,
my laptop. I
hold
got my
on. I
laptop.
got you. I got
I
you.
Oh
can't even
God,
do
I am
that. I
not
got
getting
my
up
laptop.
dancing right now. I just ate.
I'm a praise from my bed.
Yes, I'm just gonna.
Joy,
Uh-huh.
this joy that I have, world didn't give it, and no war
All
take it
right. So,
away.
quick question: what other topics or social justice topics? I mean, that's what I
Yeah.
call them, social justice issues that you want to pick up throughout in your future projects when it comes to your, either from like your poetry or any video things that we can like see that you want to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what any other issues that you want to tackle?
Right now, I'm. Hmm. I feel like my political consciousness in the past year has like expanded
Mm-hmm.
extremely,
Mm.
and I think that especially just living in New York for literally I wouldn't say a year, but an entire school year and
Right.
seeing things more in my face rather than on the news. Because one thing about them, they're gonna protest. One thing about them, they're gonna get outside. One thing about them, they're gonna organize. One thing about New York, they're gonna get outside. So seeing it directly, I've been
Wow.
affected in a very very close proximity, and I've learned a lot more about a lot um, politically, and like I said, it raised my political consciousness. So right now, I think a trap that a lot of artists fall into is that they'll hear a political issue going on or any context of anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I call it, ooh, 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 you're about to get me into a conversation.
Let's go.
Okay. So this past year at NYU, I have to do a retrace so this makes sense. This past year at NYU, I have this class called Writing Through the World, which is like a
Mm.
class that all Tisch drama students have to take. It's basically like a writing class that we take to understand like art and the context of the world and all this stuff, so that we have like
Okay.
something educational on top of our acting training. You know what I mean? Liberal
Right.
arts studies, all that. Um, and I wrote an essay. I forgot what the prompt was, but I wrote an essay and coined the term ego activism. And
Mm.
basically, ego activism occurs when people engage with activism or label themselves as an activist or just try to like fight for a cause, but not at the expense of for the cause or for said people being affected, but for their
Mm.
ego and for their look and for their own emotional safety because the guilt is
Wow.
too high. There's the gap between their guilt and what they're actually willing to do at the cost of their privilege is literally like this wide. So they
Mm,
stand on
Mm.
the side of guilt and they rather do things like post on Instagram or social media or speak out inside of their poem and not actually have like an actual known background on said issue. They just speak about it so that they can get the ums and the snaps and the
Right.
yes
mm,
and the followers and all of this stuff. They don't actually care about that issue. You know what I mean? They're not actually speaking.
Um.
They're not speaking to that issue. They're just speaking about it. There's nothing new for them to say because they don't actually know about said issue. They're using said issue to coin their own career. So, anyways,
Wow.
I'm saying all of that.
Mm.
I wrote an essay about that. It's like literally one of my favorite essays that I wrote. And me coming like as an artist now and thinking about what social justice issues I want to like, you know what I mean, like really embedded. Because I feel
Right.
like I've always like followed the notion of like James Baldwin and like Nina Simone. Like they say like the
Right.
artist's mission is to speak the times, like you know what I mean, to reflect the
Okay.
time, to be a mirror to society. You know, so I really do like resonate with that, and I try to follow that as much as possible. And in doing that, I have to be aware of the fact that, like, yes, I know about said issue, this issue, but at the same time, what new am I bringing to the conversation? You know, am I just being a broken record? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I
Right.
that's
Right.
why like when I do poems about like anti-blackness, racism, my experience as a black woman growing up, right? I never wanted to turn into a like a oversaturated BLM poem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I always want to say something new, which is why I wrote Black Holes, which is why I wrote Coiling. There's something new there. Nobody's talking about textures, and nobody's talking about the fact that there's 8 liquor stores on Avon. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
nobody's talking
Yeah.
about that. So
Literally.
it's like
Like.
I try to pull at the weaves and the strands of issues rather than issues as a whole, because when you just assert, if when you just address inside of your artistry, at least for me, I've realized the issue in a generalized statement, you're not actually exchanging anything with the audience. You're just being like that news outlet. You're just being like
Okay.
News 12. You're not actually giving them something to connect to. You have to find those strands. And that's, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You have to find those strands and those weaves and those seeds that help the seed grow in their mind. You know what I mean? You can't just
Right.
be a broken stereo or record, which is why I'm never going to like if my poem, if I'm writing a poem that's standing on some type of activism for something, it better not sound like anybody else's. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because at that point, what's the point of the poem?
Right.
That's not even my
Right.
voice no more. That's News 12. That's Pix 11. Like, literally, like, you know
So
what I'm
what?
saying?
What? I do. I get it. Where does your motivation come from to do this? To do art for a living, like a profession?
Um, that's a great question. I honestly, like, in the most cliche way possible, I think it's my passion,
Mm-hmm.
truthfully. And also, I spoke about this recently. Um, I've been blessed with the factor of like I'm associated with other arts organizations and nonprofits, and I get to like hear other younger voices speak on their experience of like growing up with a passion for art. And a lot of the experience, especially within Black and Brown communities as
Mm-hmm.
well, sadly because of the way that the system works against us, um, is that like Black and brown kids don't feel secure in going into an arts career because their family isn't supportive of it, because it's not lucrative, or um it's not consistent, it's not secure. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the thing that makes you comfortable inside of your living inside of America, which is has
Mm.
some truth to it, but at the same time it doesn't, and we really need to break that stigma, which is also something that's within my work. But I think what I'm saying that to say that what has kept me going is the fact that like I have family that goes so hard for me, bro. I've
Nice.
never heard a shred of doubt from any family member around me. You know what I mean? There's there I've always been poured into artistically, whether it's in a negative way or a bad way. And I say negative in terms of like if something bad happens amongst my family, I turn it into a poem. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right. Right.
and I get no repercussions from it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm blessed to have that
Yes.
relationship with my family that's very, very supportive and very engaged as well. I feel like I've opened a lot of conversations with certain family members just because they've seen a poem, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
they may have never seen me cry, but seeing my poem, it's like they understand me on a whole different level because it's a piece of me that they've never seen, you know what I mean?
Right.
And vice versa. So yeah.
Okay. Now, my other question is, what advice would you give to other young people that's coming into adulthood,
Mhm.
and finding their way without getting lost. And I mean, without getting lost through whatever type of negative influences and counterproductive influences are in neighborhoods, like them avoiding the 8 liquor stores
Mhm.
to do
Mhm.
something that they like or feel passionate about. Like, how, what would be your advice aside from anything except for just move away?
Mm. Hmm. This is a very. I love this question. To think about how I'm gonna phrase my answer. My advice is to simply. Whoa. Okay, that was crazy work. My my advice is to always affirmations are have changed my life, like collectively. Um,
Okay.
and in a way, affirmations are also poetry. But I've realized that our world, and what we see is based off our lens and our perception and how we think. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I think that growing up, being raised by my grandmother, who's like, why I would even wisdom is not even the word to describe that woman. I'm not even joking. Like, just like beyond the earth. I don't even know. Like, that's the only
Mm-hmm.
phrase that I could think of. Like, very, very in touch, very, very in tune, very tapped in. So there was a lot of affirmations that she didn't even realize that poured like into me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and I feel like kind of having that conditioning my mind to think on the more positive side. I can go outside and see the 8 liquor stores and go, I recognize that this makes me feel angry. How can I turn it
Right.
into something good? You know what I mean? So I think my number one advice is to find those affirmations that doesn't make your makes your dark world a little bit brighter, because at the end of the day
Okay.
we can't deny the fact that like seeing things like oversaturated liquor stores and crackheads everywhere on broader market isn't something that's depressing and a little bit not even a little bit, very very emotionally depleting. But how
Right.
can you make your world brighter by changing your perception of all of this? You know what I'm saying? How can you reach back to your community and say, hey, this is a problem, you know? How can you
Right.
actively engage with your emotions in the context of the bigger picture?
Well, okay. Okay. All right. I ask because, sometimes I wonder why some youth pursue their passions and some just really engage in self destructive behavior.
Hmm.
And it's like they don't have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
It,
mean. Though it's
it's
Not
not it's not a
yeah.
requirement to fail,
at all. Hmm. See, but
you know?
inside of but this is the thing though, like how you just said, this is what I mean by ways of thinking. You just said it's not a requirement to fail. And their brain, they're like, it's not a requirement to succeed. You get what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like
Mhm.
yes.
there's a different there's it's like a different pathway. So while you think that that is keeping you on the up and up, somebody that's saying it's not a requirement to succeed, that's keeping them here complacent. You know what I mean? So it's different wavelengths of like thinking patterns puts people in different situations in life because it's based on how you perceive the world and how you perceive your position in the world.
Hmm, okay. So, Zaire, do you have any questions? No, no questions. No questions.
Is he with us?
Are you there,
He was here.
Zaire?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
cousin. Hello.
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 We hear you, bro. We hear you.
Hello.
We hear you, finally.
Hello.
We hear you, bro. I swear we hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
Are y'all being funny? Oh, okay.
No, we're not.
No, we can hear you. No, you kept saying hello.
You
We a little
tweaking.
slow at times.
Just a little bit. Just a tad,
Not too much.
just a
Not too much.
little bit.
Not too
I
No, no,
much.
no. So,
Don't give it gas.
what inspired you in the poetry though? Like, cause I always thought you was gonna do something like with architecture or something like that. That's just me. But you gave me architecture. Like, you're gonna be good at interior design and architecture, building skyscrapers,
well, period. That's
things
like
like
a
that.
compliment.
Um,
Nice.
but the poetry, it was it was something that I expected, but I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
and then
Why
you
didn't
just
you
start
expect that? I'm very
killing it.
curious. Oh,
I
thank
was, I
you.
just thought that was like, because you first told me you was in high school, and I'm just like, okay, she does poetry. But then I started seeing you spit, and I'm just like, yo, she on some J. Cole stuff right now. Like, you on some Jay Z
That is
Hove,
like
like,
that. Wow, that's the best compliment I ever
blueprint,
got. I'm gonna
you
write that
know?
down. I'm on some J Cole
Yes.
shit. I'm writing that
Yeah.
down. That nigga is a mastermind. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I would say, like, in a short answer, what inspired me to like start performing, I would just say my teacher. And it's so beautiful to
Mm.
like speak about
Mm-hmm.
this now because my teacher that got me into that competition and like, you know what I mean? It the
Right.
crazy thing is like her intention wasn't to make me no poet, wasn't to get me to start speaking my, but the fact that she even like like the fact that our homework assignment was to do this competition in the first place, like these are the type of teachers that we need for our youth. You get what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are getting us out there, like we aren't confined. So it's just like I have so much immense gratitude for her. She's about to come to my next performance, so I'm so excited. But she's
Nice.
never seen me perform in person. um but yeah, I'm really excited to see
Nice.
her. It's a
Your
full circle
teacher
moment.
is coming. Right. Definitely a full circle moment.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love her. She's gorgeous and great and amazing.
So people can follow you or search you on YouTube
On
and Instagram. Italy's Blur. That's
mhm.
ITALYSBLUR.
Yep. Mhm. Yep. Italy.
Follow. Do you have, excuse me, do you have performances on your YouTube?
I do. I have
Okay.
4 uploaded.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when
And
this airs, I'll make sure that I put your YouTube link in the comments and a link
yes,
to your
ma'am.
Instagram. Oh, you know what? One more question I wanted
I
to
love the
ask.
ego active. What is that? Ego
Ego
activism.
activism. Ego
Yeah, ego
activism.
activism, and I think that you should start coining more things, and and start putting that out there, right? And
Thank
labeling
you.
you around, because that's pretty good. The ego activism, and we do have a lot of politicians that are ego activists. That means
Right,
Yes.
that
right, right,
know that they can't change
Yes.
something, but they say something
right.
Yes.
just in order to go with
Yes.
populism.
Yes.
And I
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
think that goes
Yes.
to the four
Yes.
horsemen of the apocalypse, as they say, what is it? Populism, nationalism, isolism, and it is another one. But I just think we need to really start thinking about things in different contexts and different perspectives, and having
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
conversations with our peers to
Yeah.
better understand something. Because I think that the way a lot of people now are trained throughout these schools to disseminate information is the wrong way, right? They're
Mm.
training them to analyze but not synthesize at times. And we need
Right,
to
Mm.
right,
move to
right.
synthesizing and analyzing, right? And so it's also about, like,
Mm.
how do you disseminate that information to, all right,
Yes.
whether I have to put the pieces together or whether I have to add pieces in order for it to add up. So
Right.
I just think that that right there is that your mind is like, you come like this full circle, and I just think that's so dope because I've never heard that, and I'm just like, you said ego, and I said, what, the ego activism?
Nah, nah,
Yeah.
that's funny. Yo, I be clocking it. I be on Instagram. I see like this is ego activism. Lock in.
Yeah.
Lock in.
It's a lot of that.
A lot of
I
it.
even before you gave it a name, I saw it happen in Newark, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not helping the cause. This is
It's not
not
helping.
solving
In fact,
any of our
mm,
problems.
the sad
It's
part
just
about it,
making them feel good about
it's
themselves.
it's making them feel good about themselves, and it's also diluting the significance of the issue at hand.
Right.
Because now, you're just becoming literally recurring verbiage inside of people's ears. And now they just dilute these people to numbers and hashtags.
Mhm.
There's no humanity behind your words, and it's obvious. Like
Right.
literally, there's no humanity behind your words, and that goes for literal ego activist performers and then ego activist Instagram performers. Don't get me started. Um, don't get me started because I would get irritated. Like,
Go
oh my
ahead.
god,
Go ahead. Go. Go.
but it. Oh my god,
You
but
started. Now you have to finish it.
but it's just like I went on a rant on my Instagram not too long ago. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember when, but it was not too long ago. And I basically, my rant was just like, since COVID happened
Mm-hmm.
and we were shrunk to nothing but our phones, our activism translated from outside to straight to social media,
Mhm.
right?
Hmm.
And because of that transition, and because we had no access to anything but news, it was an oversaturation of all the issues at once inherently.
Exactly. And I think that Trump, and I'm just saying that here's my thing. I think that Trump got blamed for a majority of the things that governors and mayors are responsible for. And that's one of the issues that if you look at, like you said, the oversaturation of news is that it actually over not just over exaggerates, but it also over exaggerates within black and brown communities though. Right? It's
Everything
also when we talk
oversaturates
about
within
crime,
black and
crime is
brown.
actually the number one thing. And if you look at anything, and I think was it Steve Jobs? Was it Steve Jobs? It was him. Bill Gates. Bill Gates. I think it
Yeah.
was him that made a release of the actual numbers of crime and things, but the coverage of the news and
Yes.
crime sells. And so I just think that when you just said that just right now is just like the
Mm.
oversaturation and how we cover and how people are tackling things. People are saying
Hmm.
like the hot topics may be immigration. Immigration is a serious issue.
Hmm.
And mortality rates within the black community is a serious issue. And but
Right.
all we got to see was crime though. You get what I'm
And
saying?
this is, yes, this is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
And I think a great example of ego
Sound
activism,
bites.
a great example of ego activism, and this is what my rant was getting into on my story. In 2020, when BLM was at its peak, talking George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, the list goes on. I have it stapled in my head, literally.
Hmm.
So it's just like during this time, like I said, because there was just saturated news outlets from all angles, it became normalized to see videos of black bodies being shot on social media. It became normalized to post a black screen and think that that was real activism because people became comfortable with the fact that they could get on their phones because they don't have to go outside because it's
Mhm.
COVID. So they don't have to really do much. They ain't gonna step outside and be in protest with you, even though that's within their line of privilege. But what they will do is they'll go on their phone and post that black screen, and that's their way of solidarity. But what is that actually doing? If anything, what that is doing is policing the actual media that needs to be out, like the donation links, the petition links, how to call your state and
Mm.
local government. Those are the
Right.
things. Those are the things that are being hidden and dismissed by the
Exactly.
algorithm because y'all want to do black screens. Like,
Right.
do you know what I'm saying? Ego
Right.
activism. That's ego
Right.
activism.
Wow. You
There,
As
broke it
long as it
down
doesn't
well.
affect me, I don't have to worry about it as
hello.
much. And
I don't
that's his
have to do that.
problem. I
Yes.
It's no
Like
real
people shouldn't
work.
be
They're not putting
uproar
in no
over
real
any
work.
like. And here's my thing: we just shouldn't be upset at just because somebody dies, like George Floyd or anything like that. And a lot of these guys that die, and I'm not trying to say that they're bad people. I don't know who they are. I never met them. However, we got to do better. It's selective justice, so to speak. It got to be poor black in an impoverished neighborhood for us to care, or they have to be
Right.
defenseless for us to care. They can't be. They can't fight back. We can't do certain things like that.
Mm,
And so I just think that, we got to be more open to not just accepting just certain people who meets the criteria and accept all because the fight is for all.
mhm.
So I just
Mhm.
think that
Mhm.
when BLM they was on some craziness,
Yes. BLM in
but
2020, I describe it as like the year that really Emotionally that time, and it's crazy because I'll talk to my other friends who are all black because I don't even play like that. I'll talk to my friends, and we all discussed 2020 like it was a fever dream, not because of
Mm.
COVID, but because of that. We
Mm-hmm.
were all we had was our phones to get in contact with anybody, and that's what black people had to wake up and see every single day, not even just through social media but on the news. And if it wasn't through the news, it was by ear because it was so oversaturated. But what makes me like upset with ego activism, because it was such at its height inside of 2020, that, and because COVID lasted a pretty long time. 3 years is a very long time. 2 years
Mm-hmm.
is a long time. It like it lasted much longer here in America because America. But because it lasted that long, people it started to become a pattern. It takes 25 days to build up a habit. So you have to think people were doing this for 2 years, thinking that this is
Wow.
okay. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
something
Oh
that
my
people
gosh.
think is okay. And now it has bled into post COVID. So now people still actively do it. But the worst part about it is that now we're out of COVID. We're not just secluded to our phones anymore. So now people are bringing it outside of social media. You get what I'm saying? Now they're bringing it
Mm-hmm.
into their performance spaces. Now they're bringing it into those underground
Mm-hmm.
communities. Ego activism has left the bounds of social media and phones because we are no longer in
Mm.
COVID. So people's activism never really comes from a genuine space anymore. And you
Wow.
can see it.
You're right. You're right. They're advancing themselves off of someone
It's
else's
sad.
pain and suffering.
It is very sad. And that's why I think that when it comes to America and um, actually what a great future looks like for black and brown communities, I'm like, this is why I do what I do with my poetry. Like, I point out these specific issues so people could, like, the way I break down things, I've recognized as like a gift. I'm able to
Mm-hmm.
really make people see the full picture. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like I I hold a lot of gratitude towards that, because it's like, as much as I have this anger and this frustration about this thing because I feel like I'm the only person seeing it, I have the gift of being able to articulate it so well to the point where I can help other people see it, get that same passion, and we could actually move out of this. Because I don't think ego activism is something that's going to be permanent, but I definitely do think it's going to be one of those things down the line when second graders are reading textbooks. It's going to be one of those bolded little, like,
Right.
highlighted vocabulary words, and they're going to be
Right.
like, this was the era of ego activism. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
want it to be something like that, something we could look back on and be like, wow, that's how that happened. And how do we not fall into these patterns again as a society? Because it does not help the needs for liberation in any context at all, literally. Anyways, you done got me started. You done got me
No, go
started.
ahead. I just have one question.
Yes.
Which one of you black people
Uh-oh.
do not need to replace their battery in their smoke alarm? Because if I hear another chirp,
I ain't got no church.
I'm like, what is that? Like, is
It might just be me. But let me tell you something. It's not because I need to replace the battery. It's because it's
there
broken
it
and it
is
won't
again?
start.
That was
I
it.
heard it. Okay, shh. Don't point it out. See how everything was fine and dandy until you pointed it out? Like, just, it's all great. You don't hear anything. I hear
Somebody,
nothing, so you don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing. What do y'all
I'm
hear?
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me get back on track. Before we go, tell us about your published work.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have a book out that we can actually go purchase, read.
The one that I have out, or that I'm published in, you can no
Mhm.
longer purchase only because it was from high school. But
Okay.
there's a collection of my poems in there that they sold my senior year. I actually have it. I can show it to y'all. Hold
Okay.
on. Let me show it. It's in my book stock. Okay, I rolled back on the bed. That you saw how smooth that transition was.
Yes,
Anyway,
I did. It was very smooth.
very smooth.
You didn't fall off and
Nothing. Like I didn't have to do too
it
much.
was like
Um,
a tumble.
this is called "Those Who Live Between the Lines." Our school designed it. Um,
Oh,
and
nice.
basically, it's a collection of works written by our students at my high school. This is me or whatevs, and that's my intro. And then we got
Nice.
Unlike Nature, which is one of my first poems I ever wrote. Then we got Gentrified, which, ooh, that poem is
Mm.
gas. And then you got We Rather, which is a cutesy little poem. But yeah. And yeah, so that's the book that I'm published in. I've been getting a lot of publishing opportunities over the past summer. I just found out
Hmm.
that I'm about to get published inside of Poetry Society of New York, which is insane. Um,
Oh, woo!
um, for the summer press
Look at
edition.
you!
Look
Look
at
at
you. Look at
you!
me. um, Thank you for their summer press edition, and then I recently, ooh, I gotta hold on. Let me do another show and tell. Cause hold on, you saw the
Let us
transition.
see. Yes, I saw it. You got it down pat.
Transition. This one of the people that I met from a it was an organization that works with like reparations and stuff, and I opened up their event for them. One of the
Mm-hmm.
people that I met there, he does a publishing called Reparations Day. Whoa, what a world! Reparations Daily ish, like the New
Okay.
York ish, but it's like daily ish or
Oh,
whatever. And I just got published inside of his. It's really dope. It's like a mini newsletter, but about like
okay.
reparations and like that whole kind of thing. It's really cool. Um, and then there was another one, but I can't think. I can't think. But yeah, yeah, beautiful blessings. Beautiful, beautiful blessings.
Nice. Nice. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, man.
You're
I am
welcome.
too.
Thank you for coming on and
Thank you for
gracing
having me.
us with your presence at Current Exposure and giving us the opportunity to highlight you and show young people like you
Oh
existing.
yeah.
Oh,
That was so wait, do it again.
so dope.
Period. Okay,
So
period.
dope.
I'm weak.
Now that was awesome. I like that.
Period.
That melted my heart.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for having me. For real. This has been fun.
Yes, yes. Is there anything you want to add before we close this out? And
Yes, I do actually.
okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So, one, I have a very probably one of the most important performances in my life. Dodge Poetry Festival in October, on October 19th. I'm only saying it right now because I've been harassed by family members to announce it at the cookout and everything, and I never did. Um, so this is said opportunity. Um, October 19th, I'll be performing on the stage inside of NJ Pack, and it's gonna be awesome and it's gonna be great. And
Wow.
I'm also performing on the same day as Nikki Giovanni, which is insanity. And do you know Nikki Giovanni?
Oh,
You know Nikki Giovanni?
yes,
Oh
yes,
my God, when I tell
yes.
you, I'm like tweaking right now. Like Nikki Giovanni is literally like me and my grandma. Like growing up, it was my grandma's favorite poet, and she would always like show me her stuff. So it's just like I'm like to be performing.
Wow, that has to feel good.
That's whoa, does it? It feels great.
Yeah, yeah, great, great. Like next level. That's next level.
I know. That's
That's
when I'm just
like
like I
everything coming to fruition. Like
exactly like I just
those
feel very
affirmations coming to
I feel
life.
very, very affirmed and very, very grounded in what I'm doing right now because of things like that. Like, there's just been a lot of
Nice.
crazy opportunities happening to me, and I'm like, whoa. Also, speaking of crazy opportunities, I just got the yes. I was talking to you about this for my short film that I'm about to make out of one of my poems called Coiling, which basically breaks down the narratives, the negative narratives and stereotypes about black hair.
Mm.
Um, I just got the yes with my film director, who's going to be like my cinematographer for the entire thing. So I would say I'm currently casting for that, but I kind of already have idea for casting. But look
Mm-hmm.
out for that. He also, oh
Okay.
my god, I have to brag for him right now. He's about to get mentored by Spike Lee in the fall, which is
Wow. Nice.
insane.
That's good for you
Insane.
too.
I know. It's everything you want.
Networking. Yes. Nikki, you had Cornell West, Nikki Giovanni's coming up.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
about to be in there with Spike Lee.
that would be insane. I might actually like fall to my knees. Um, are y'all familiar? Like that will actually like I'll actually like tweak just like a little bit. Um, but yeah, so I have that coming up. So that will be fully uploaded to my YouTube channel. We're gonna be filming in late September to mid October. So Zadi, make sure that you keep your hair on your head. Thank you very much. Because I will need you. Um, and yeah, if you would like to book with me, please reach my email or my DM or anything like that. And I
What's
appreciate
your email?
it's literally the same as my Instagram. So it's also linked on my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
ITALYSBLUR. So that's Italy's blur at gmail.com. You just email through there and we can get details rolling and all that good stuff.
Okay. Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah,
I hope everyone enjoyed.
me too.
Get into the comments. This is a pre-recorded show, but I'll be in the comments. There will be links in the comments to Italy's work, and also reminders of NJ Pat Dodge Poetry, October 19th, and other good stuff. Her email address, I'll put it all there. But
Call me now.
what was that? What was that, Mr.
Okay.
Ruffin?
So I'm getting off. You gotta call me. It's an emergency. I don't need no. It's not
Okay.
even laughter.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's not
right.
even laughter. Call
So,
me now.
everyone, peace. We will see you later.
Yeah.